Hello Crucible Conductors, and welcome to another Andy Forge video. This is going to be the first of the 3 I Saved KeyForge deck videos. So we're cracking open the first one today. There should be 2 more in this series, but then we will get into normal KeyForge openings. I'm hoping to open up the adventures and stuff soon, but let's get right into it. I haven't practiced opening this, so I'm hoping that this tear spot actually works. If not, I might have to cut away. Oh, you know what? I'll be right back. 1 second. And I'm back with it. I've got the side open here. I promise I'll be a little bit more prepared in the future. I think I saw the deck list a little bit there. So what we'll do is flip it like this. Ooh. Okay. So we'll probably see the token creature first thing, but we'll get that out of the way. We've got Grumpus. So that means that Brobnar will be in this deck. Brobnar, Equidon, Unfathomable. Okay, these are some amazing houses. The Padwriter, the Vassal, Stalwart. Very cool. That Archon looks amazing there. The one big arm, the tentacles. Oh, I always love looking at all the different unique kind of aspects of an individual Archon. If you guys can see it past the glare. Okay, well, give me just 1 second. This has got, for those who don't know, an I Saved KeyForge deck has a really unique, like, art treatment to it. So this one's gonna have a lot of glow effects. I'm hoping that one of these is actually, like, really, really good, because if that's the case, then I can bring a really fancy, probably one of a kind. I don't know that they'll ever do, like, an I Saved KeyForge deck in specific again. Deck. So, but I'm super pumped to dig into Winds of Exchange. Be right back. And we're here with the card breakdown. Give you a little bit closer look at that Archon here. See if it'll focus on it. Really doesn't want to. There we go. Now, dive into the cards. First things first, set the deck list off to the side there. Then we look at our token. Oh, that border is so pretty. It's got the beautiful Saved KeyForge glowing border there. This is Grumpus. It's a 2-power beast creature with splash attack 1. Great for clearing a board. And we are starting in Unfathomable with their token generation card. So this is Initiation. It's an action. You play, make a token creature. If you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, archive it. Prove that you are ready for the deeper mysteries. Interesting, kind of getting them into the cult there. We've got another Initiation with a damage pip, which is good. It's one of the damage pips that's best for Initiation. You don't want like a draw pip on it. Then we've got Guiltspine Netcaster, 2-power creature with Enhance to capture into the deck, and after Reap exhaust a creature. Oh, Covetous Hema looks extra good with this border. Man, these cards look so shiny. 3-power creature with while Covetous Hema is not on a flank, it gains Elusive and play capture 3. Some excellent Amber control. Ooh, Befuddle. It's got an Amber pip, it's an action. And with play, choose a house on your opponent's identity card. During their next turn, they cannot play cards of other houses. So you basically pick a house that they have to play cards from. They can call another house and use different houses that are already in play on the board, but they can only play cards from the house that you make them. Some really good disruption. Ooh, an Abyssal Sight is great comboed with that. It's an action with an Amber pip and play. Destroy a friendly creature. If you do, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card. Cadet Byron, cancel the Undersea Walk. 2 of those, fantastic. Then we've got Bubbles here, a 5-power creature with play. Put an enemy creature on top of its owner's deck. Bubbles is fantastic, especially in this set. Bubbles was good before, but there are so many destroyed triggers or destroyed, effects with Brobnar, with Equidon. I mean, there's so much that you really want to dodge, and this is just a great way to make sure that if there's Amber on the creature, you get it back, and you can really work around those destroyed effects. 2 of those. Ooh, that border is... I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's the whole point of the deck, but it just looks so good. Oh, Yuan-Ti Ghostfin. This is probably one of my favorite creatures from the set, just because it has the ability to purge. It's a 3-power creature with elusive, and after reap, you purge a card from a discard pile, and if you do, you make a token creature, or purge a creature from a discard pile, rather. Watch Your Step with 2 amber on it. It's an action, and it says, play, choose a house on your opponent's identity card. If they do not choose that house as their active house during their next turn, you make 2 token creatures and ready them. Pretty good card. Then we've got Plunder here. It's a really interesting disruption card. It's got an amber bonus on it. It's an action. Play, reveal a random unrevealed card from your opponent's hand, then you may either repeat this effect or your opponent discards the last revealed card. Very cool. Plunder is really interesting just because you have to slowly make your way, so if there's a specific card that you're looking for, you have to be careful because you might miss a better opportunity if the opponent doesn't have like what you really want to discard in hand at that exact moment. It's really unique. At the very least, you can just reveal their whole hand if you can't get Abyssal Sight and you really want to know, and then just discard whatever the last card is. We're going to Equidon here, our new house. This is the 3-power creature, the Old Tinker. It's got elusive, and after reap, discard a card from your hand, draw a card. Some great efficiency. 2 of those. Ooh, Shrewd Investor with some pretty interesting enhancements. Wow. 4 power. 4 amber, because that's how much he captures. It's got a capture bonus on it and a damage bonus on it, icon on it. Elusive and play. You may have your opponent gain 1 amber if you do capture 4. Shrewd Investor is great with some stuff from the new set, like, I forget how to pronounce it. It's like Shizuku Swooper, or there's something else where you can make, you switch an opponent's creature and a friendly creature in Equidon. But great with that. You really just want to get the Shrewd Investor onto your opponent's side. Then we've got Ornate Talking Tray here. Oh, Shizuku Swooper might not be great with Shrewd Investor, I'm realizing, because Shizuku Swooper is swapping itself with an enemy, so never mind. I'm sorry. Still getting used to this new set. We've got the artifact Ornate Talking Tray here with an amber bonus. Omni, destroy Ornate Talking Tray, and make a token creature. Really good artifact. Ooh, and a great action here, Generous Offer. Play, destroy a friendly creature if you do steal 2 amber. We've got General Zaorha here, 4 power with Skirmish, and play, for each forged key your opponent has, make a token creature. 2 of those. Oh wow, and then a Forced Retirement with 2 damage pips. Play, destroy a creature. If you do, its controller gains 1 amber. So great if we end up with any creatures with great like destroyed effects, maybe something in Brabnar or something. Plus those 2 damage can really put in some work. I'm glad they ended up on an action. Oh, 2 Forced Retirements, okay, so some very specific removal. Auction Off is a phenomenal artifact control. You get an amber when playing it, and it's an action, play, purge an artifact, its controller gains 1 amber. Purge from play is easily worth your opponent gaining an amber. Pull-up Stakes is some great creature control. You gain an amber from the bonus, and action. It's an action, play, shuffle 2 friendly creatures into their owner's decks, return 4 enemy creatures to their owner's hands. So you just shuffle 2 creatures into your decks, but as the active player, being able to pick all the stuff that's going on, typically you're going to pick Grumpuses here, and we have a decent number of ways to make token creatures in Equidon. So we'll pick token creatures that we actually want the cards instead of the Grumpus, and then we just push a bunch of stuff to the opponent's hand so they have to replay it. Ooh, Market Crash. Play, destroy each non-token creature, gain 2 chains. Some more fantastic control, a decent board wipe. Wow, that Equidon kind of did it all. Had amber control, had board control, had artifact control. And then we're going to Brobnar. This is the house that you guys are going to want to look out for. Brobnar in this set can completely redefine a deck. It is so powerful. They have comeback swinging. They kind of flopped in Worlds Collide, and they are doing the exact opposite of that in Winds of Exchange. They are a force to be reckoned with in many, many departments. So there are some very key cards that we're looking for here, but let's get into it with Stratosmack. It's an action. Play deal 3 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, make a token. 2 of those. Then we've got Rowdy Scald. That's where some of the damage enhancements have been coming from. A 4-power goblin with enhance 1 amber and 2 damage. 2 of those. Ooh, Ragnarok Prep. Stinks that it ended up with a capture, but oh well. You make a token creature, then if you control more creatures than your opponent loses 2 amber. Good thing they didn't make it farther than the bathrooms. Shakedown Sullivan. Oh, because it's looter goblins they just stole from a Star Alliance ship. That's interesting. Okay. We've got Press Gang here. You make a token creature. If an enemy creature was destroyed this turn, archive Press Gang. Ooh, then we've got Fire Spitter here. Really good creature. 5 power, 1 armor with before fight, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. Great against just the new token creatures. There are so many 1 power ones or low power ones that Fire Spitter can really wreak some damage. Then we've got Berserker Slam here. You get an amber from playing it. An action. And play, deal 4 damage to a flank creature. If this damage destroys that creature, its controller loses 1 amber. Then we've got Gedhammer here, one of the Bracken members. It's been enhanced with an amber, 5 power, with destroyed, ready, and enrage each other friendly Brobnar creature. With a Brobnar token creature, that's great. Ooh, then we've got the Broken Axe Outpost, an amber from playing it in action. Put a friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck. If you do, deal 6 damage to an enemy creature. Our opponent against us with this deck is going to have a terrible time trying to maintain a board or any semblance of like a board state. I don't think we have too crazy an amount of amber control. We've got Covetous Hema, Shrewd Investor, and Generous Offer I think are going to be the big ones, but our board control will make up for it, and if we can, you know, wipe a huge board, we can just reap out with our Grumpuses and call it a day. Oh, and this will help. We've got Iron Obelisk, it's an artifact. Your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each friendly damaged Brobnar creature. So that's an absolutely fantastic amber control, because it's a passive effect that's an artifact that we won't cycle, and it's specifically against our opponent. It's not two-sided. Iron Obelisk is great. We have some pretty powerful Brobnar creatures in this deck too. Oh, and we're finishing it off with our rare as Harmal Attune, one of the other Bracken members, a really, really top tier Brobnar card this set. It is 5 power creature, and it has the passive effect of each other friendly Brobnar creature gains destroyed, return this creature to its owner's hand. Bracken burns through drummers at a dizzying pace. That's funny. So I'll hold this up as our piece de resistance, sort of, for the deck, that beautiful outline. So what's super, super cool about Harmal Attune is if we tokenize a key piece of Brobnar that isn't Harmal Attune into a Grumpus, we can fight that Grumpus into something. Then when that Grumpus dies, we'll return it to our hand and say it was our Iron Obelisk. Now it's in our hand, and it's in the form of Iron Obelisk because token creatures can't enter your hand. Then we can just play Iron Obelisk that turn. So super, super good card. This deck actually seems pretty great. It does a lot of stuff. I've had a great experience with all of my Winds of Exchange decks, but these are like the 3 key houses, and there's a lot that I love about this deck. I can't wait to try it out at my locals. But give me 1 second. I'm going to do the breakdown that I've kind of set up for Winds of Exchange, doing the card counts and stuff like that, setting up the temporary numbers, and I will be right back with that. 1 second. Okay, here we are with the final section. I have everything laid out. I'll go ahead and put the numbers on the screen there, following my hand. So again, keep in mind these are our temporary numbers, the ones that I've kind of made for WoE. So it's just card counts for the initial stuff, and then kind of just initial counts. Nothing crazy. I'm not even looking at the speed board or anything that takes a more like balance point of view. I'm basically just counting so we can get a general sense of what this deck can do. I've got the Amber control, expected Amber, artifact control, and creature control, as well as our token pile. Everything in the token pile is something that makes a token but doesn't do one of these, because there are cards that make tokens that do a bunch of different stuff. So this is just these cards make tokens kind of scenario. You'll notice we have nothing in the expected Amber. That doesn't mean that there isn't any expected Amber. As you see on the note, there's 12 bonus Amber. It's just there wasn't a card that its effect in and of itself gave us Amber, like, oh, if you reap you get an extra Amber or something like that. So, but we still have the 12 bonus Amber, and you go through the deck quick, and there's a lot of reaping in WoE, so it'll kind of redefine what expected Amber means for this specific set. I think calculating SAS is going to be really, really interesting for WoE, and I really appreciate the team that's working on it. But let's dive into it. So we're going to start with the token creation. We've got here, hello, didn't want to come off. We've got here starting with Press Gang, which just makes a token creature and can archive itself. What's great about Press Gang is that token creature counts towards the creature count for its effect. Then we've got General Zaorha here, which can make 2 token creatures. Ornate Tray with the Omni, and then both of our initiations, and Yanti Ghostfin, which can purge and then make a token creature if it does so. Some pretty decent just general token creation. I think it's good because the initiations don't have any cards that work against them, as well as the Press Gang. We've got an okay number of creatures, nothing crazy, but because token creatures exist, the nature of token creation is going to lend to a larger board state. Then let's get into our Amber control. The first card here we have is the Iron Obelisk, a great passive effect, but the fact that it's just key cost and the fact that it's so conditional, I put it as the first Brobnar card. I've also, by the way, sorted these out by houses, so it's going to go Brobnar, Equidon, Unfathomable, and then how I put them in order based on how strong I think they are. Then we've got Berserker's Slam, which is just a straight up lose one, which honestly might be worse than Iron Obelisk, just because, especially since we have a Brobnar token creature, but it's only 2 power, and it's really hard to say. I'm not sure if generally key cost is valued higher than just Amber loss, but Berserker Slam might be lower. And Ragnarok Prep is just great. You make a token creature, then it's got a capture bonus, which kind of stinks. We only want to play it when our opponent has like 3 Amber, but if we have a larger board state, then the opponent loses 2. This is one of those multi-purpose token creations. Shrewd Investor here with the ability to effectively capture 5. We didn't get any cards that would allow us to push it to the enemy side, so unfortunately it would just pay an opponent to capture a bunch onto this creature, but that could definitely hold it for a while, which would be really good. Then we've got Generous Offer here with the Steal 2 if you destroy friendly. Stealing is always great. And then Covetous Hema, which is kind of a roundabout old Bruno for Unfathomable. Some pretty good Amber control. That was 6 cards for our Amber control. Oh, and for our token creation, if you noticed, I put a new symbol at the bottom there. That's just cards that make tokens in total, so there's going to be some overlap. So you didn't see all of them there, but we do have 10 cards in the deck that make tokens of the 36 cards. Then no expected Amber cards in specific. Then we've got Auction Off here, which is great. Anything that can purge an artifact straight from play is super powerful. So you purge an artifact, and then your opponent presumably would gain 1. But if there was an artifact in play that I really didn't like, that was mine. If for whatever reason I really didn't want Broken Axe Outpost, or I really needed an Amber, or I was tired of cycling Talking Tray, then I could auction it off for that extra Amber. It would be 2 from this card because the bonus icon. But most of the time you'll give an opponent an Amber to purge a card. Then lastly, we've got our creature control here. A lot of direct damage. So we've got the 2 Stratos Max with their 3 damage. I put Fire Fire Spitter in here just because of the general board damage. I feel like typically because of how high his power is and that 1 armor, he'll definitely get around to 1 fight typically. Obviously that's not always the case. But that 1 damage to the entire enemy board is really good. Broken Axe Outpost is great. A targeted 6 damage can be really powerful. Then we've got 2 Forced Retirements, which again, presumably is hitting our opponent. But again, if there are Grumpuses that we just want to cycle, that we're not worried about getting back into our deck, and we just put them in our discard pile, then we can get 2 Amber from these. We've got Pull-Up Stakes, which is super powerful with the shuffling 2 friendlies and then returning 4 enemies. It can really mess up a battle line. Market Crash, which is great out of set. Destroy each non-token creature. That will only leave you with a board. So Market Crash would be excellent with a Equidon token deck. If you can get a good Equidon token creature, and then a lot of like Equidon token making, like with Visible Hand. And then in Unfathomable, this is Guiltspine Netcaster, exhaust a creature on a reap. Pretty low, but still definitely creature control. Our 2 bubbles, which, yeah, those are the last 2 cards. Super, super great in this set. Again, avoids a lot of the destroyed effects, and there's a lot of like passive effects that hit the board, especially if you're going against Brobnar with any of the Bracken members. Bubbles is great because they have to go to Brobnar again to replay them, and then the passive effect isn't on the board in between those turns, which might not matter as much, but if you have something like Harmel Attune, that's a great way to deal with your opponent's version. So, all in all, super cool deck. I'm definitely not upset about it. It seems like a lot of fun. The stuff that you didn't see because we didn't discuss speed and board, there's a lot of disruption. Unfathomable is actually an amazing house, and this pod is really good in this deck because of the double abyssal sights, the watch your step, the... oh, what is it? Here, I'll look at it. We will pull it here. The plunder, you know, revealing your opponent's hands, the befuddle, all of that stuff, the ability to kind of control your opponent. Plus, all of those cards have like Amber bonus icons on them, so I'll be gaining Amber while controlling the opponent. So that's super effective, which is something that you won't see until we have these SAS scores. I'm talking speed and board, but I'm super excited to try this out. Also, just again, this border throughout the whole video has looked so, so good. We'll hold up the Archon here. Just an absolutely gorgeous design. I was worried because for a long time they didn't show us what the KeyForge kind of deck treatment would look like, but then they showed pictures and I've seen them online and they are just absolutely beautiful. So I've got 2 more of these. I can't wait to bust them open. If you haven't seen my other Winds of Exchange videos out, I opened my 3 namesakes and showed off their mat. I also opened the collector's set, so go check those out. There's so much more to come. I'm going to slap this into a kind of mini-series with the KeyForge stuff, so keep your eyes peeled. I think they're going to be some pretty good decks. If not, they're going to be very good looking. But yeah, hit that notification bell. I don't know when my videos are going to be going live. Subscribe, and remember, the most important part of KeyForge is the person sitting across the table. Have a great rest of your day.